We are the Gujarat Technological University. Since its inception over a decade ago, GTU has been empowering young and curating minds to realize their true potential. Over 4 lakh inspired students are enrolled with one of the premier academic universities in India. With more than 450 affiliated colleges in its fold operating across 5 zones of the state, GTU, the International Innovative University, your place to move forward.
Okay, everybody, are you seeing my screen right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, in last lecture, we have just discussed the drawable directory, different image drawable directories that we have seen. That in a resource directory we have different drawable with the different DPIs. We have the detailed description on that. So let's start with the drawable resource type. How many drawable resources that available in Android? So first we already discussed where we have image drawable. Now right here we are going to discuss 3 type of XML drawables we have that can be placed in the directory of resource drawable. These are color drawable, shape drawable, and gradient drawable. In fact, we have already worked practically on these 3 drawable resources in our lab sessions. Let's quickly discuss that. What are these theoretically, right? First one, color drawable. So you all know, right, in a resource directory we have color.xml file under the values directory where we can specify the color constant. It is also possible, right, if you want to make it this file in drawable, it is possible that you just specify this thing over there. But in a newer version of Android Studio, they preferred that these colors should be stored in separate file, that is color.xml file. So how we are defining these colors with the that color tag, right? So Android color, and you need to specify 3 combination of 3 colors, right? That is in a hexadecimal form, that is R, G, and B. It is also possible that you specified it in a 8 combination. First 2 can be the alpha channel, right? So how transparent or the how alpha that color you need to create, right? So that first 2 bit you can utilize if you wish, that is for the transparency or the alpha channel. Then second bit, or right now on your screen you just see that first 2 bit, that is FF, that is for the red. Then second 2 bit, that is G, that means green, and last 3 then it is blue. So RGB combination need to be specified when you are specifying the color constant. So that will define the color constant that you can utilize with your designing in all screens, right? So what happened, once you change one color constant, it will apply to the entire design of your application. So it's really handy to have a number of color constants. Another thing, that is the shape drawable. So in shape drawable we have different options, right? That how many shapes we can create with the help of XML under the Android drawables. So first one is the line, second one is the oval, third one is rectangle, and fourth one is ring. So these drawables that we can create. So what is line, right? It's a horizontal line, and you can specify its style and its width by the stroke property of line. That means you need solid line or the dotted line or the line color and the width of line. All this you can specify in line. Another shape is the oval sphere shape, right? So with the help of oval, you can create the circle or the oval or the ellipse, right? That kind of things that you can create. Next one, that's a rectangle. We have already created rectangle. There is possibility, right, to make its edge rounded. So a radius property is there where you specified that how much angle of radius need to be rounded, right? If you specify a radius property, it will do the rounded rectangle. Then the fourth one, that's a ring. If you wish to create just a ring, right, a hollow circle, then you can create this thing with the ring object. So it support inner radius and thickness that you can specify, right, how much hollow it should be there and what is the border of that circle that you can create. I would like to forward some of my slides so you can see the shapes. Just see right here, first shape that you can see, it's a rectangle. This is the ring and this is the oval, right? So this is how it look like. And again, these are the basic shape. When you place this shape into the container, that means the layout, right, according to the height and width of that layout, it will look like, right? Like say that you are specifying oval in some square layout, so it will look circle. If you specified rectangle in a square shape, that rectangle look like this square. So according to the height and width of your layout, that shape will look like. So we are not specifying any height and width within rectangle or the line or the ring or oval, right? According to the parent shape, it will change. Any doubt in this thing? Okay. So again, we are right here in a few description of ring. So how you can specify this thing, the radius or the thickness of a ring property. So in a ring, radius ratio and the thickness ratio that you can specify. Radius ratio, that means that how it should be the radius of your ring that you need to specify, and thickness, that means the border size, that what should be the thickness of that particular ring that you can specify right here in the form of the ratio. Okay, so that we can utilize. We will see the practical example is few time back I have already show you that three steps. So we will implement that thing, that what properties we require to set. Okay, now let's say we are starting with the one by one step. So in line, nothing is there, right? You need to just specify the width and stroke. It becomes the line. Let's say the one of the most popular shape available in Android, that is the rectangle. Basically, we utilize it for the multi-purpose, like the backgrounds, buttons, and all other things, right? So that you can utilize. So to define rectangle, we need to add the shape.xml file in a drawable directory. How we can add this thing? So we need to right click on drawable and just you can add new XML drawable, where you can select the shape drawable, right? So in a shape property, just see that right here we are utilizing rectangle. So you can change this property to rectangle, to oval, oval to line, or anything, whatever you want to create. And the sub property, right, that is available according to the whatever the type you have selected, right? Let's say that you have selected line. So in line, you cannot specify the corners and padding, right? So where we are just specifying solid and stroke, right? Solid means what? The colors that we can specify over there. So color tag that you can refer. Again, right here, first two are the alpha channel then red, green and blue, that combination we have specified. Stroke is 10 dp, and the stroke color that we have specified right here, it is green, because the green light, right, that is ff, all other red and blue are 0 0. And then we want to create that rectangle as a radius that should be 15, so it become the rounded rectangle. Radius we have specified. If you need the angular rectangle or the normal rectangle, right, just keep it 0 or omit the radius parameter, right, it will become the normal rectangle. Now that rectangle required certain padding, so that padding we are specifying right here, all left, top, right and bottom, all radius that we have specified 10 dp. If you need anything special, like say that left and bottom should be something different, right, 20 or 25, it is possible, right, that unique radius on each angle. But if you need a sophisticated rectangle, right, then you can utilize the same parameter, so it look better. Okay, so that is how you can create any shape. Right here we have learned this thing with the help of rectangle. Do you have any doubt in this thing? Hello.
No, sir.
Okay, next one, that is the gradient drawable. We already work on gradients too, right? We have done practical examples of this thing. Let's see theory that what is gradient and the types of gradients available in Android. So as we all know, right, it's a complex design element available in Android, and it will fill color with the combination of 2 or more colors, right? Gradient smoothly fill 2 or 3 colors in between, it will mix into that, right, so it look better. There are 3 types of gradients available in Android. One is the linear, radial gradient and sweep gradient. So according to the how the color is filled within a shape, this type is divided, right? So linear, in what happened, linearly all color is filled. Then radial gradient, right, from center to the radius, right, that color is sprayed, it may be the 2 or more colors. And sweep gradient, right, it will fill the colors in a sweeping position, like the clock arrows are there, right, clock is turning around, right? So this pattern, that sweep gradient, fill the color in 2 or 3 combinations. So how you can define this gradient? So first you need to create shape. Within that, so a shape drawable need to be defined, where you can utilize in each gradient with a start color and end color. If you need to just create a gradient with 2 color only, but if you require more color, that means you want to create a gradient with 3 colors, so you can specify the middle colors too. So it is possible that a multicolor gradient you create in Android. Now let's see each type in detail. In linear gradient, right, mostly there are 2 colors, but if you wish to define more, you can define it, and it will fill the shape with these 2 or 3 colors in a straight transitions. So that's why it's a linear color, right? Another one, that is the radial color. So in a radial, as I said, right, it will start from the center, where you can specify the center X and center Y with the help of offset, right? So you can specify that from which starting position you want to spread color radially, right? So in a shape, it may be the any different shape. It may be oval, circle, or rectangle, or the rounded rectangle. You can specify this radius, this center X and center Y. So from that center point, it will spread the color, that a number of colors you have mentioned. Like say that in our example, we are just mentioning the start and end color. So start color, that start from the center X and Y, and end color that goes to the outer edge of that shape. It may be the circle or the rectangle or whatever the shape you are using. So gradient radius that specify the transitions in pixel. So it is dependent on that, on which particular screen you are defining it. For the different resolution of screens, you need to create different gradients, otherwise it will not look good, right? Because the radius parameter what we are defining right here, that is in pixel, and you all know, right, when you specify the measurement or the unit in pixels, it is not responsive. So it might possible that once you are creating the gradient for the mobile device, it may not look better on TV. So you need to care about all these things. Okay, now the next one, that is the sweep gradient. So they have the transitions in a sweeping position, right? So it fill color in that particular border of your ring or in that particular manner where we can specify one or more color. Again, we have our choices of the start or the end color properties that we can specify, and it will fill that colors in the parent shape in typically a ring dimension. Okay, so that is the difference between radial and sweep. Many students get difficulty to understand difference between radial gradient and sweep gradient. In radial gradient, what happened, right? The filling process start from the center of that object, whatever the center offset you have specified in a center X and Y, to the, it start from that to the end offset. But in a sweep gradient, right, it will start the entire color from the border of that shape, right? So it will fill in that particular form. Okay, so these are the three gradients we have. Do you have any doubt in this stuff? Okay, now just see the example of these three things. Here we are creating three different shapes and three different type of gradient we are filling into that. Just see on your screen, we have three shape: rectangle, ring, and oval. Now we are filling that shape with the three different type of gradient. In first, we are filling it with the our linear gradient. In a ring, we are filling with the swept gradient, and in oval, we are filling with our radial gradient. So according to your need, you can utilize this thing. It is not there, right? You cannot fill swept gradient in the oval or the rectangle. You can utilize this option in any other thing, in other set. But what happens if you specified it in this particular way, then it will look better. Do you have any doubt? Yes, Bhargav?
No, sir.
તમારો વિડિયો ઓન થયો, મને કઈક ડાઉટ હશે.
અરે ના, ભૂલમાં થઈ ગયું, સર.
ઓકે, નો પ્રોબ્લેમ. ડાઉટ હોય તો પૂછી શકશો, રાઈટ? Anybody have any doubt? Then please ask. Okay, let's start with the first step. Just see, we are specifying the shape property. How we can get this XML file or where this XML file can be placed. So you need to know this thing that in resource, in a drawable directory, you need to do the right click and add new shape drawable. Within that, we can write this gradient property. In a shape, you need to change the type of that shape. Just see right here, we have specified rectangle for the first shape. Here, it's a ring for the second shape. And here, it's an oval for the third shape. And remember, these three boxes are the three separate file or three separate XML file we are creating in our drawable directory. Okay, so don't write entire stuff in a single file. Okay, now just see, in a shape we are utilizing one property, use level, right here. Again, if you see in this shape, use level is there, and again right here use level we have specified. In each case, we have specified use level false. So what is this use level? Basically, when you keep it use level true, then it will not properly mix your two or more color. So what happens? You will see these stripes of color. Smooth colors છે તમને ડિસ્પ્લે નહીં થાય, પણ એના stripes display થશે કે બે કલર વચ્ચે તમને ડિફરન્સ દેખાશે. But now, right now, just see that what you are seeing in a black and white smoothly mixed with other color. So it is possible. Why? Because we have specified use level false. If you keep it use level true, then you can see these stripes over there. So in UI designing, stripes look very ugly. That's why you can specify this one use level false. Now the task of this, let's first describe all that step, right? So in rectangle, just see that we have utilized only two properties. In another thing, in a ring, you just see that two other properties we are seeing: inner radius ratio and the thickness ratio. So it starts from 0 to 9. So we specify the inner radius ratio, that is 3, and thickness ratio, that is 8. Or if you convert this thing in that percentage, that means you can specify that 30% and 80%, that what you are specifying the thickness and inner radius ratio, right? It starts from the outer border of the shape. So you just see this kind of shape on your screen. To learn these properties better, you need to create this file and alter some of the ratio parameter. Combination of these two things will create different types of rings on your screen. Okay. And the third thing, just see, we are just specifying oval. So it will create the oval. Now again, this shape dimension, that means height and width, just see, we have never specified this thing in a shape drawable, but it's depend that on which shape you are applying this gradient, it will become like that. It is simply like when you put water into some container, right? According to this height and width of that container, the water size become. Here gradient color, right, become the similar to the parent content. Are you getting this thing? સમજાય છે શું કહેવા માંગુ છું? હેલો.
Yes. Yes, sir.
क्या? अच्छा, કોણ બોલે? બીજું કોઈ ડાઉટ? મને તમારો પ્રોપરલી અવાજ નથી આવતો. ભાર્ગવનો તો આવ્યો. બીજા કોઈને ડાઉટ આ સમજાય છે વસ્તુ? ડ્રોએબલ્સ ની અંદર ક્યારેય બી હાઈટ અને વિડ્થ તમારે આપવાની નથી ગ્રેડિયન્ટ ની અંદર, પણ જે કમ્પોનન્ટ ની અંદર સમજી લ્યો કે લિનિયર લેઆઉટ છે કે બટન છે, એની હાઈટ વિડ્થ તમે જેટલી રાખેલી છે એની અંદર તમે ગ્રેડિયન્ટ મૂકો છો, તો એ બટન અથવા લેઆઉટ ની સાઇઝ જેવડું એ gradient je એ થઈ જશે. So it is basically utilized for the background resources. Okay. Okay, now let's talk about the gradients. Three types of gradient we are utilizing, right? So let's specify the gradient property of each thing. Just see, in a gradient we are specifying the start color and end color in linear gradient. So it start with the all lights full, that means FF. So that color is white. So just see that starting color and ending color, that's our white, and center color that we have specified, it's black. So just see, in a center it have the black color. And how you want to fill this gradient, right here, just see that it is filled with the angle of 45 degree. If you change this degree, that color dimension will change. Okay. So, and we have specified the type, that's a linear. Again, here we are specifying that we do not want to see these stripes, so use level is false. So smooth gradient will create. Another, right here, just see that we want to create this swept gradient. So color will fill in this particular direction, right? In a border of ring, you can just see. So here again we have specified the start color, end color, and center color. So 3 color we are utilizing in all 3 example. We have used the same colors. If you wish only start and end color, it is perfectly fine. You can utilize the different colors. Like right here, I have just used black and white combination, but you can utilize any specific colors you wish to utilize. It is upon your choice and your need. Okay, now just see here, type is changed, sweep gradient. So filling of color process is changed. Just see the comparison with the linear to the sweep gradient. In linear, in this particular angle, that color is filled. This is why, because 45-degree angle we have specified. But in a sweep gradient, right, in a clockwise, that color is filled, right? As many color that you have specified, this is filled like in this particular pattern. In the case of the radial gradient, what happened? It starts from the center point. Whatever the center point you are specifying right here, just see that we have not specified center X and center Y. So by default, it becomes the center of your object. But you can provide the center X and center Y in the format of offset. That center of object can be anything. Like say that you want to make it this center or this one or this one, anything, right? That you can make this thing. So just here what we have defined, the gradient radius and the type of this thing, center X and center Y, that come by default. So how it fill the color? So from center X to center Y, or the center of the object, it will fill in a radius manner in this particular way, right? So you can see that here, this is the radius parameter. Above it, or in this particular pattern, a white color is there, then black strip is there, and again it comes to the white. But ending white, you just see the very tiny portion of that white strip you can see at the top and bottom. This is why, because the size of shape we have selected, it's a oval. But if you keep size of that shape into 300 pixel by 300 pixel. Why I am saying 300 by 300 pixel? Because the gradient radius we have specified. So then you can clearly see 3 colors. But right now what happened, right? This radius of this particular thing is around, just you can see 270 or 260, right? So the outer color, that is the white end color we have specified, that is cutting down. So if you reduce the radius to the 50, right, you will see first white color, then black color, and the large white color. So depending on the radius, what you specified in this radial gradient, it will fill the color. So now I think the idea of creating gradient is clear. Do you have any doubt how you can create the shape and how you can fill this thing with the different gradient? Any doubt, then please ask. વધારે તો જે તમે પ્રેક્ટિકલી કરશો ત્યારે તમને વધારે આઈડિયા આવશે, અને આના પ્રેક્ટિકલ્સ તો આપણે ઓલરેડી કરી બી ચૂક્યા છીએ. Okay, with next 10 minutes my meeting will end because of this free version, right? Then I will send you the new link and you need to join that thing. Now see another drawables that is available in Android. Previously, right, this thing is largely used, but nowadays we have the vector graphic that can be utilized. So first, just see that what is 9-page drawable file. So it's a specialized PNG file. That extension is .9.png. So why this thing is required, or what is the special thing about this 9-page drawable file? So it is the stretchable images. Mostly what happens when you create the raster image, it will rasterize, right, when you enlarge it, right? So what happens, it will look ugly when a tiny image you are showing on a big screen. So it should be properly stretched. That's why we are utilizing the vector graphics, scalable vector file, or you can say that SVG files that we are using. But if you wish some scalable properties in your PNG files, that you need to create your PNG into the 9-page PNG file. In Android Studio, previously this tool is available in Android Studio, but nowadays if you wish this kind of file, you need to utilize some of the web utility to do so. So what it does here, nothing you need to do, but you need to add 1 pixel black border to your object. Just see at the bottom I have given one file uh, where a 1 black border is specified. So what happened? This kind of file that you can utilize for the backgrounds of your object. So when it enlarges, that shape remain intact. So how Android Studio know that which portion need to be expand and which should be intact? So it will focus on the 1 pixel border and the remaining color will expand, right? So it will be stretched and it will look like a proper image. But there are certain constraints again there, right? If you are just expanding it very largely, it will distort too, right? That's why nowadays XML shapes are available and you can utilize the SVG files to define this thing. But as a portion of our syllabus, 9-page images are there. That's why discussing that thing. So it's a still image that you can convert into the 9-page image by adding borders to your drawable shapes. So it becomes the stretchable images. That is what 9-page drawables. Now let's see the animations. 3 types of animations available in Android. One type that we have already practiced in our practical section, and that is the exercise number 22 according to GTU exercise list. That twinned animation. In theoretically, all 3 animation is asked in a theory paper, but in a practical examination, they always ask the first type of animation, that is the twinned animation. Okay, so let's see one by one this animation. Let's take first one first, twinned animation. So what is the twinned animation? Twinned animation are applied on your views, that letting you define the series of changes in certain property. Which property? So you can change its position on X and Y or on both. You can increase the size of object or the decrease the size of object, or you can say in another terminology that zoom in, zoom out. Rotation of that object, you can rotate your object in any particular degree from 0 to 360. And opacity, or you can say the alpha channels, right? You can make your object solid to the half transparent or the fully transparent, right? So that is defined the opacity or the transparency, or you can say the alpha channel of that particular object. So that defined by the twinned animation. In a frame by frame animation, what happened? A series of images or the series of views that we are displaying one by one, like how you are just seeing the ancient graphics of on Cartoon Network, like that Tom and Jerry and all kind of cartoon. So what they are displaying a series of images in some sequence of time. So one by one frame is changed and you feel that there are the live characters available on that TV. But right here on mobile, we will change 2 or 3 or the multiple, say any number of images you have or the any number of views you have one by one. So you can just see is like the GIF image animation is there. Then the third one, right, that is the interpolate property animation, or simply you can say that property animation. So it is the advanced animation system that is introduced in Android, where you can animate almost anything by using this framework. So what you can animate, right? You can utilize the all properties of twinned animation, and that animation effect you can apply on any particular property of object. Like say that when you get focus in edit text, you want to animate something. When you click on button, you want to animate something. When one layout is load or when layout is exist, you want to animate it something special, right? So all these kind of animation that you can do with the help of property animation. It is nothing but the advanced version of twinned animation. All the properties or the types of property like alpha, rotate, position, translate, right? Everything that is comes from the twinned animation side. But how you are going to define it, that way they have checked. Okay, so these three types of animation, one by one we will see. Let's take the first one, that is the twinned animation. As I explained that there are four property. Alpha animation, that will change the transparency or the opacity of your object. That means how that object should be transparent. By default it is solid, then you can make that properties change, right? So it look like the glass, you can see the object behind that, right? So you are changing the transparency of that particular object. Like the glass, you just compare with the window glass. If it is fully transparent, you can see from your window. Otherwise what happened, right? If you have a solid glass or say that solid container like the wood, you are not able to see it. Okay, another one, that is the rotate animation. So on XY plane, you can rotate your object either clockwise or the anti-clockwise. If you keep it the positive degrees from 0 to 360, right, it will rotate anti-clockwise. If you keep it negative, it will work like the anti-clockwise, right? So clockwise and anti-clockwise, that you can see with the rotate animation. So that degree you need to specify. Then the scale animation, if you want to uh, make your object larger or the smaller, or zoom in or zoom out with the help of scale animation, you can do that thing. And the last one, that is the translate animation. So if you want to translate the position of your object, right, on your screen with the help of this thing, translate animation you can do. Translate basically move your object on x-axis or the y-axis or the combination of both axes, right? So from original position, if you specify the positive values, it go in a positive direction. Like say that in x side, if you are specifying the positive values, it go left to right. If you are specifying the minus values, it goes from left in a minus direction, so that goes right to left side. Same way for the y-axis, if you specify the positive values, it go up. If you specify the minus, it go down. Okay, so these are the four types of properties available under twinned animation. So we will see that all coding of this thing, but in next meeting. Okay, right now the meeting time of 40 minutes is end. I am just generating the new link, and please connect to that new link. Okay, hello, anybody there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. I am generating